Welcome, Cancer. This is Regina from Pacific Tarot, getting ready to do your new moon in Gemini reading, active on the 14th of this month, June. And this is a lot of sun moon in Gemini plus Uranus energy. So that's giving a little pop and crackle to what is ordinarily a very cerebral information sharing, data exchange, communication rich environment. With the ruler of Gemini, Mercury in Cancer, and this is connecting up with Jupiter that has been in Cancer for a while, there is a way in which a breakthrough is occurring because Mercury actually goes retrograde towards the end of the month. So there's a kind of gentle, soft internalization of this breakthrough, sort of applying some illumination to one's own emotional intelligence. So the way that words and the emotions behind them or emotions themselves start to shape our reality, our intentions, and our goals is what's part of this breakthrough that busts through a lot of clutter, assumptions. It's helping us to see more clearly, but on the basis of our emotional desires and needs. So I pulled for you the Yogic Path Karma card, and I'm going to read a little bit about that from the guidebook. And positive karma is in the upright position, but it also describes negative karma. But we're going to stay with positive karma at this point. You've done a lot of good on this planet, and the universe is rewarding you in her favors. Life feels a little easier, a little more colorful, a little more beautiful. You're walking on the path towards your dharma, your purpose, which creates the greatest karma one can experience. By saying yes to the purpose of your soul, you are saying yes to the greater power of the universe. Continue devoting your life to the service of spirit, and life will continue to unfold its wonders. Karma here is defined as the sum of one's actions, and I like that more neutral nuance. So naturally, right decisions, alignment with our purpose, sets us on a path of experiencing more openness in the soul's journey, perseverance. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. There's something sort of about balancing going on here. There's something about evening something out. A long investment in perhaps a set of practices or beliefs that are no longer useful in a way in which you have gathered the courage, the strength, the understanding, the wisdom to break a pattern, to do something different, or to have an opportunity to give input or feedback to a process that has appeared overly rigid and unresponsive to your needs. This full moon, this new moon is definitely a part of closing out a cycle for you, Cancer. Whatever that means to you, you're kind of gathering up all the wisdom, self-knowledge, the ability to reflect deeply on a process of growth and perhaps breakthrough, breaking out of a cage or out of a rigid groove that you've been in for a while, so that you feel that you are preparing yourself to step into new energy, more self-directed energy. So for the present, I have the Knight of Wands, and this is a confirmation that you are inspired. You are exploring something that previously seemed unavailable to you. This is you moving forward in a way that actually helps to motivate others. And this comes out of a deep desire to make a change, to activate a change within you, to expand on something that you've previously done. It feels as though you're moving in the direction of creating some alternative to the way things have always been done. In the past, the Ten of Cups, this is quite lovely. This describes a community of incredible support for you. This can be certainly inclusive of your family, friendships, but also neighbors, those with whom you trust and share your values, your talents as a way of amplifying what you collectively can empower yourselves to do. This is a kind of protection that's been provided to you by those that care for you. And it feels as though you play a primary role in the way that information, energy, resources are shared here, so that you are protected, but that you are affecting a change. You're looking at a way that this is can be moved into an area of generating family, comfort, resources in a process that you have the ability to impact towards a better change. In the future, the Star card, yes, indeed. You are, this is less about a fixed vision. This is more about the pursuit of your North Star. This is the way in which your consciousness is allowing things to emerge, is opening up to something that is now available to you in the way that, as I previously said, it did not seem possible, certainly not likely in the past. But this is in dynamic with the changes that you are experiencing in the world, that the world is changing. So the North Star is generally the willingness and the embrace to go for an improvement, to know that something that perhaps no longer works can be retrofitted, can be improved upon to serve better, to serve more, to serve in ways that were not understood or perceived. And this absolutely has everything to do with technology, I think specifically with artificial intelligence, so that you are recognize, and you're experiencing an institution's failure because of an inappropriate use of AI in a way that you actually can provide some corrective to through whatever role, impact this institution or organization has had on you. And your ideas are being sought after now. Your knowledge is being requested. Your feedback is being elicited. If this reading is resonating for you, Cancer, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all the ways that you support me, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of your loving attention and presence with me. So thank you in advance for that. And I pulled for the Ten of Cups in the past, the Four of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. Yeah, there was a community that surrounded you, perhaps a lot of assistance that you once relied on, that you've had to recognize no longer serves you in the way it once did. So this has a feeling of an institutional service that you've relied on. It can be some educational aspects, some medical or health concerns that you have addressed in a conventional way in the past that you're now realizing doesn't serve you. You've come to a place where you have developed better inner resources, understood better how to get support holistically for your needs. And you are now in a position of evaluating an offer that you're receiving. This can even be the request for feedback, a greater understanding of an experience that you had. You know, those feedback forms that you get every time you have a doctor's visit, that kind of thing. Or anytime you take a course, there's an extensive feedback or survey that needs to be completed before you can get your grade or finish the course, etc. That's what's coming up for me in this particular experience of the past for you that's setting you up now in this future to share your ideas, to propose alternatives or ways in which you can be or are better served. So the Knight of Wands is clarified by the Nine of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles. Dear, Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles and the the Nine of Wands. So this is really about having everything you need in your environment in order to generate a more positive outcome for others, for yourself included, absolutely. Because it feels as though you've been in a routine or habit in some service that you've accessed in the past. And it has always been required a holistic giving of yourself to a process. And this hasn't always fit you, suited you, worked for you in the way that it is proposed to be. And so you're showing up here as the wounded warrior, someone who perseveres. You're not giving up. You need something, but you are understanding that the institution has more than enough resources to supply you in a way that it has become less and less apparently able to do. But the link is you. You are the bridge. The information, the resources that the institution or situation has to apply to the solution is still unknown to it. And you are the one who is able to supply your experience in order to identify the gaps or holes. In the future, the Star card is clarified by the Justice card and the Page of Swords. Wow. So things are working out. There is no doubt about it. You are getting an answer. You are getting an opportunity to address a problem. You're being heard. Redress, reparations are being offered. And it's interesting because in many ways you feel as though you are completely new to this new process, the way in which ultimately it was able, a clunky institution or an organization was able to respond to you, has you a little bit out of body here, but aware that this is a whole new world. This is a whole new process or opportunity that is going to require your continual feedback, your constant research, communication, and negotiation with. So there feels as though you have gained a lot of wisdom, gathered a lot of information, are observing the institution respond to you and its agents in ways that feel like you're vindicated. But you realize that this is part of a new advocacy role that is part of the level of justice that you've moved into. In order to sustain this justice, this equity, this balance, you understand that advocacy is a new tool that the organization in and of itself must incorporate or integrate into its service indeed. So the survey I mentioned in the past is something that must be retrograded to, rather than a hindsight review or summary, this is a place in the beginning of the process where the needs are more clearly flushed out and identified so that alternatives or a solution is a better match for the situation. I'm going to pull an outcome, 2 cards for an outcome here. And perseverance is the theme, the 6 of Wands and the 10 of Wands. Interesting. So I see a long process as we started out this reading talking about the sum of your experiences. And in many ways, this particular process has represented a burden, a responsibility, a process that is perhaps a kind of one-size-fits-all process. And in identifying that and releasing that premise that no solution can be the same for everyone, you are proactively working with your caregivers, administrators, team members to do your part, play your part proactively. So if this is a medical situation, I see you taking your role as an advocate very seriously, recognizing that you have a more an agency throughout a process rather than checking off satisfied or less satisfied box. So this feels exciting to me. This feels as though you're having an impact through a series of your own less than satisfying experiences to creating something that not only gets you the result that you're after, but actually creates a more responsive process over the long haul. I'm going to finish this reading with Language of Flowers, if you like the way that jumped out. Cyclamen, and the key word is resignation. Say goodbye to what you no longer need. Interesting. Interesting. I'm going to hope that that is a prompt for your own meditation. Thank you so much, Cancer, for being here. Until next time, namaste.